So in the previous subtask of this project, we saw the pseudocode as to how we are going to display the word or how we are going to handle the guesses. Now let's actually implement the pseudocode over here. So for each guess character, we have to print whether the guess character is there or whether it should be a blank again. So let's look at the code. So this first part is same as the previous subtask. Let's look at the word display function now. So we have initialized the display word as empty. Now in this first for loop, we have for char in word. Char will be basically each letter in the word. So for every char in the word, like let's say the word is CodeChef. So for the first iteration, char will be C because it's the first letter of the word. And if char in guesses, so if you come down a little, you can see that guesses over here is basically the string of all the guesses given by the user. Like let's say I guess, A, B, C, F, R, D. Then basically we will have this string as guesses. So if the particular character guessed is in this particular string and it's also in the word, then we're going to display the actual letter which has been guessed. Because if the character is in the word and it's in guesses, that means the user is right. Which basically means, like let's say I guess C and C is in the word over here. Let's take example as CodeChef. So C is also over here and we have chosen C. Then we're going to display out the word plus an empty space. So this is basically the condition where the user has guessed properly. We're going to print out the letter at that particular place and then we're going to go to the next letter in the loop. So the next letter in the loop will be O. So you might be wondering, what if I guessed O first and then I guessed C? So what would basically happen here is it would be added together to the guesses string. So basically the guesses string would look like something like this. And for the second letter in this word, like let's say I've taken an example as CodeChef, the second letter in this word is O. So what it will do is for O in word, O in CodeChef, and if character is in guesses, here character is O. Since O is in guesses, it will get printed out after C. So basically what time you give the input does not matter, it is going to get printed anyways if the answer is right. Now let's say I give the next letter as Z. But we don't have Z in CodeChef over here anywhere. So for each iteration, it's going to compare. And let's say I go to the third letter. So let's see the third letter, D. So for D in CodeChef, if D is in guesses, then we're going to print this out. But over here, we do not have D in the guesses. So then what will happen is we will just print out the display word plus a blank. That way, for example, let's say till now I've guessed 2 letters, so it will look like this. And since D was wrong, I guess D as Z, then we will have an underscore over here, basically a dash. So this is how we will be displaying how much of the word has been guessed properly and how much has not been guessed properly. Let's look at the main function now. In the main function, we're calling the choose word function to choose a random word. And then we're going to initialize the guesses string as empty and then run an infinite loop. First where we're going to print the displayed word over here, which is basically blanks at first. And then we're going to take input as a guess and convert it to lowercase. This particular function over here converts the word into lowercase. And then over here we're adding it to the guesses string. And then after one loop of this happens, we're going to go back to the start and we're again going to call that function with this particular guesses string. That way we'll be updating for each letter whether it has been guessed properly or not. So let's look at how this code works. Since my word list is pretty small, I can tell that I have contest as the secret word over here. So let me give T because it repeats twice. So you can see it has been filled properly at the appropriate positions. So let me just submit this once. So we have passed all 3 test cases. Let's move on to the next subtask.